Hate's not a word I use, but I certainly think that we're going to be emotional about our performances, and I'm angry about last week, personally. I mean, I've played plenty of games, and I don't suffer losing, but I can't sit here and pretend like 4 or 5 days later that I'm happy and it's all forgotten, So I'm angry, and I know the players will be in the same space. You've got to have that anger about your own personal performance. In the end, you get a great opportunity to play against the most consistent team in the world, and that's how you benchmark yourself. So if you come up short and you're a competitive guy, then you've got to actually say, well, what am I going to do about that? So that's how I played it. When you come up against the best, it was the best way to work out where you stood in the real world. So for me, it's last week was not a great outcome on the scoreboard. There were bits and pieces in there which I was happy with, but in the end, the scoreboard's the only thing that anyone will judge the game on, and that's what history's going to judge the game. But it's a chance to you've got to take the emotion out of that performance and do something about it the next week. So emotion's got to be in it. Hate's not a word that I use, but there's got to be emotion in terms of how you respond. It's called a test match for a reason. It's a test. We came up short in the test last week, so now it's a test of character. I think that it is a mental. The mental part of the game is very important, and I sit here and think, the All Blacks have earned the right to be the most complacent team in world rugby, but they're not. So they front up, and there's enough pressure, and there's enough whatever it is that drives them to get out there and be on the ball and switched on. There's that motivation. So other teams in the world have got to find the same space. That's what you're competing against, and they've got every right to not turn up every now and then because because of the consistency they've shown. So we're going to understand that. To compete with others, you've got to compete in the same space. You've got to find that space, and you've got to look everywhere. And it's not a matter of just looking on the training paddock. You've got to look away from the training field, and you've got to search. And everyone's got to search deep inside themselves and work out where you are. So that's what you've got to do to compete against the best.
You and Steve Hansen said today. Steve Hansen said he's concerned because you've gone quiet this week. So he's expecting a fight back from you guys.
He'll get a fight back on the field. On the scoreline that, it's hard to be beating your chest too much. But don't worry, we'll be bullish about our prospects. Don't worry about that, because no different than what I said last week. If we go out there and we fine tune a few bits and pieces and get an outcome, you guys are going to have to go back and recalibrate what you've written, because you've written a lot of stuff in the last few days, deservedly so. And then you have to go back and then you've got to recalibrate. So that's the way it works. At the moment, we're not in a position to be beating our chest too much. All we can do is respond on the field. So I'll internalise that and deal with it. But that doesn't lessen our thoughts about our prospects. I can guarantee you we're going there with high hopes.
Yeah, we spent the 2 weeks preparation going into that first test, really working hard on the scrum with the new laws with the binding. I thought throughout the game, you could easily see the trouble we were having from both teams, with the feeds. But at the end of the day, there's always going to be that transition period. Everyone trying to get used to it, and at the end of the day, it's bringing both scrums back into the old days of scrummaging and competing for that ball. So over the last month, we have been working hard, and hopefully, we put up another good performance this weekend.
So were you relatively happy with the scrum last week?
Yeah, look, there's always room for improvement. I think we got penalised a few times for putting the ball in a bit skewed, but besides that, I thought overall it was solid. But as I said, there's always room for improvement.